Here we are. We just got done doing a video on extending the wiring harness and putting a key up along with a kill tether and everything on this Duromax. Now, what we're working on is a VM22 carb. Now the thing is this $40 to $45 purchase to get one of these kits off of Amazon is what they call a rabbit hole experience. Now here's the thing. If you buy the kit, the problem is the kit doesn't come with the gaskets in order to be able to do the governor delete. The other thing the kit doesn't come with is it doesn't come with a high flowing exhaust like this one I'm working with now. So you need to make yourself an exhaust. So at this point we're at $45 for the cheapest version of the kit. We're at a $55 bill after adding in this. You're going to end up needing a pack of jets in order to be able to tune everything in. There's another $10 bill or so. And for those of you about to say, well, just drill out the jets, well, a drill bit kit of Jeweler's drill bits is about $20. So here we are now sitting at around $70. And then on top of that, if you buy the cable and make your own gas pedal, that's going to cost you another $10. If you buy a kit that has one of these, in order to be able to use this thumb piece as your gas pedal, you get it with the cable, that's going to cost you about $15. So your $45 purchase, by the time you get done, you do the governor delete, you do the exhaust, you do the jet kit, you do the gas pedal or the gas cable or whatever you want to do, throttle cable, that just turned into a $100 bill in order to do this upgrade. Now, we need to rip this entire assembly aside. Now do keep in mind when you're doing this, you're going to have to take off this gas tank, you're going to have to take off all of this, but while you're taking all of this off, remember that everything in this is actually a high flow upgrade for the stock Predator assembly. The jets that come in a Duromax are bigger and the air filter is better flowing than a Predator. So keep that set aside as a slight upgrade in the future if you need it on a Harbor Freight engine. Topic of removing this governor. So the governor is back there. So that entire assembly needs to be ripped out of there. This is your governor arm right in here. And the problem is, the way this is designed, you pretty much have to take this out to get that out. Except for what I am betting is if I take a grinder and I slice it right about here, I'll have just enough clearance to drop it down through the hole. This right here, once we got it out, we tapped in and just drove that home. See right here, we've started taking parts off. I was going to leave this in as a pivot, but there's not very much that actually holds that in place, so I decided against it. So cutting the tip off made it drop out. Now we've got another problem. That, at the base of this, has a little hog ring in it. Not much I can do to show you that part. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat that plastic gear up with a torch, and I'm going to see if I can just rip everything right straight out of there, even if the hog ring stays. Well, it's minorly on fire in there, but you get the idea. There's the rest of it. Should work out. Here we go. So that's cleaned out as much as I care to clean it out. I accidentally dropped the cam out while I was trying to get the side cover off. So I just wanted to point out that this is just like the Hondas where there's a dot there and a dot there. You just line it up and go with it. You can take the oil sensor out of it. I've never heard or seen one actually break loose, so I'm just going to leave mine. But that means you have to plug this if you do take it out. At this point, going to get the side cover back on, and we'll be back. Here we go. Everything is all cleaned off of here, except for one last stud right here. We tried doing the two nuts up against each other, and it just would not let go. The chrome on this and everything, it's just too slippery. So finally, a pair of vice grips and a little bit of a lack of a give a damn, and it came off. Now while I'm here, I could pull the oil shut off, whatever sensor thing out of there, but I'm not overly worried about it. There's that where the governor used to be, so the tank is going to go from here to here nice and easily after we're done. So now we got to finish this. I'm beginning to think that this gasket set must be some sort of restrictor for a smaller version of this engine, because that obviously goes on that side, and if we look, we can see that it massively restricts the airflow going through there. And this is way too small to go on there. So we're going to set these aside and get this bolted on. Now this side goes out, and I put a T on it in order to say top. So that's going to go something like that, and we'll go from there. I was about to make fun of this miniature Allen wrench, but what I discovered is it is brilliant. It is just the right size that it clears the side and does a full rotation, making this a much quicker process than it was about to be. This is always harder to do when you're viewing through the camera. Still gonna suck, but that is brilliant and why it's so short. Getting that bolt through there and that bolt and nut through there is definitely on my special place in hell for whoever designed it category. That was not fun, and as you notice, the top is missing. Well, that's because this thing actually can move up and down to the point that it won't align, upwards of almost like an 1/8 of an inch difference. So you've got to get it clocked, semi-level, plus you've got to sight down through there with a flashlight to get it so it's centered so that it's not closing off on the bottom of the blue. So now I've got to get the throttle into this. Now this right here is directional. It's pretty obvious that there is a pin right there, and if you look down in here, there's a pin right there that they go on. So just simply line those up after you put your cable on. It shouldn't be a big deal. There we go. So that's all assembled. So you slide it through this cap, make sure your end is down inside the rubber grommet there. You put your spring over the top of the cable. You then put the cable end through that notch there. And when you go to put this in, the thick nub goes on this side, and that thin slit goes on that side where the choke is. Alright, light is fading fast. We're going to see if we can manage to get a test fire out of this thing. We've got our throttle assembly here that we've got tuned in right here. So if we hit that, it works. I believe up is choke. I'm sure somebody in the comments is already telling me if I'm right or wrong. And let's see what happens. As you can see in that last little exhaust clip, this thing is horrifically leaning out on the top end, but it seems to be idling and quite happy as far as idle is concerned. We need to pop this off, and we need to get into the jet kit tomorrow and see if we can sort out something that makes it a lot happier. So this right here is your idle adjustment. So if I take this and I go this way with it, we go up. I go this way with it, we go down. Now in underneath, you'll see a brass screw right there. So if you screw that in that direction, it leans it out. If you unscrew it, it richens it. So you have to richen it, adjust idle, richen it, adjust idle, richen it, adjust idle. I've hit the point this stock jet is maxed out. I'm 3 turns out on that, and you're supposed to stay under 2 to 2.5 from what I can tell. So we need to get in here and play with the jet. So as it is right now, that screw is 3 turns out. This idle is leveled out. We grab our throttle. Hear that? We hit a starve out point. So let's pull that out. Let's not traumatize this anymore and go from there. Here we go. Working on getting this thing undone. We had to put an 8mm on there and then unscrew that with a flathead. And the little one behind it, that is your idle, in case you need to touch that for some reason. So we're going to pop this bugger out and we're going to see what size it is. So I had to find a spot with some good lighting where I take pictures and stuff. What I've done is I've taken the group of jets that I ordered. Now, from what I can tell, as far as most people are concerned, the Chinesium carbs usually come with a 90 or a 95. So this group is 95 all the way up through to 150. So out of the group of jets that we bought, 3 were already too small. So we threw those off to the side. Now, in the Predator stuff, everybody claims with the Predators that a 125 is supposedly the correct size. Now, what we have found running Duromax on a few other things is that whatever the correct size is for the Predator, you add at least 1 to 2 jet sizes up in order to get it to work right. So what I'm thinking is we go with this one, which is a 135. So let's try that. Alright, let's break it down. Air-fuel mixture on 135 for a jet size currently is 1 3/4 turns out. So you bottom it out and then you turn it out 1 3/4 turns. Idle, I had to crank in quite a ways. It just was a matter of keep tuning it until you manage to get it correct. So choke on. point, I need to find a filter or something to cram in there. And we need to get some different tires on this thing. Get this mounted up where I can step on it and screw in the limiter so that we're not cranking this thing to 6 grand and floating the valves. Then we'll go take it for a test ride. Okay, so we're gonna pull up our speedo app.